Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Canned Air, your tribute to pop culture. I am Jeremy Colley.
I'm Jack Doherty.
And returning to the show today, good friend of the show to stop by and help us talk about what we've been watching over the past year. Once again, great friend of the show, author and actor. You know him best as Zordon from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Ladies and gentlemen, David Fielding is with us again. Thanks for being here, David.
I'm glad to be here, Canned Air. You guys are always awesome, and it's always a great time coming on the show, so I'm very happy to be here.
It's always a great time hanging out with you, man. I think you mentioned before, it's been since February, I think, that we hung out, right?
Yeah. We actually got a chance to see each other in person and have dinner in February, and that was great. So
only a few short months ago.
Yeah,
I just noticed the Magneto helmet behind you, and I'm like, damn it, that's awesome.
Isn't that sweet? Isn't it? I love it. I love that thing.
I got helmets too.
Yeah,
but they're not as cool as this one.
Right.
This one's comment worthy. That's why there's only one. That's all I need.
Somebody needs to do a Stormtrooper Magneto mashup.
Oh my, yeah.
That'd be interesting to see, wouldn't it? Yeah, one thing about the last time we saw you, David, you were telling us about your experiences at Burning Man, and I have not stopped thinking about that since. That was a very interesting conversation, you talking about your experience, because I really didn't have a lot of... I didn't have an idea of really what went on at Burning Man. I just thought it was another rock festival, you know?
No, it's more of an art festival than a rock music festival.
Yeah.
I mean, they blast music 24/7, so you have to wear earplugs to sleep at night. But I mean, spending 10 days in the dust of the Black Rock Desert is something that will stick with you.
I
mean,
can imagine.
I think I was still watching. I was still watching dust off myself like a week after I got back. I was
going to say literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked up videos of Burning Man and saw exactly what you were talking about, and I've thought about it quite a bit. So
yeah, I mean, that was in 2009. That was like a long time ago, but had a good time.
Few short years ago.
I'm starting to worry about the way you perceive time, Jack.
Before the pandemic and everything else.
Right. All right, but like I said at the top of this, we're going to be talking about everything we've been watching over the past year, because that's what we all do best, I think, sometimes, is just sit and talk about movies and TV. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's start with you, David. Let's look back toward the beginning of the year. What's new? What do you want to talk about?
I was trying to think of stuff that has come out and gone, and I'm really not recalling a lot. I mean, I remember seeing Fall Guy in the theater, and that was great. I really enjoyed that. And again, sort of like controversial that it was in the theater for like a week and a half, and then they pulled it to go straight to streaming, and kind of like, again, what we were talking just before the record button was pushed about how the industry is undergoing like this weird shift, and the content is not being delivered in the same way that it has been in the past, and everybody is blaming streaming for part of the problem, and everybody else is blaming Zaslav over at WB for making like some really questionable decisions about things, like the Batwoman movie was done, completed, was in the can, was ready to go, and he canceled it, and nobody has ever seen it, and and everybody should have, because again, that was Keaton as Batman, and that would have been great. But
oh wow, is that what happened? Like in the Batgirl movie, like Keaton reprises Batman? I
think so. I think he had a cameo in it as Batman.
Was Fall Guy early in the year?
Yeah, it was. I want to say it was like around March. It was March.
Was it really? I remember seeing the trailers and stuff, and I wondered if it was supposed to be like a remake of the old series, because I just saw it.
Yeah, it's based off of that.
I watched most of it a couple weeks ago, and I fell asleep through it, but I do that with a lot of movies, so that's not really saying much about the movie.
Yeah, that does not speak to the movie's merit. That's just
no. It was fun. I mean,
I had a lot of fun with it, but then again, I like Ryan Gosling, and he was he was the perfect fall guy stunt, and it was all about the stuntman and trying to, push the idea that there should be an Oscar category for stunts, and people have been asking for that for, I don't know, 50 years or whatever. But I had a really fun time with the movie. I thought Ryan Gosling was just a lot of fun to watch, and the chemistry between him and Emily Blunt was great. And just the one line that keeps revolving in my head is him being tied to the chair and yelling at the main villain, "You need carbs," because he's trying to cut weight and not thinking correctly. It's hilarious. Yeah. So.
Well, that's refreshing to hear. Me and Brooke had talked about going to see it, but never did. But at least something. I mean, not to say that nothing good has come out this year, but it's been far and few between. So maybe that's worth checking out.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's kind of a movie within a movie because they're shooting a movie in the movie, and he's a stuntman on the movie, and right. It is based off of the TV series with Lee Majors, and he makes a cameo at the tag scene after the first credits or whatever. But it's just a lot of kind of silliness, but really well done silliness. I had a ball with it. I thought it was fun.
I had fun with it for what I had seen of it.
Yeah.
I want to see the movie. It just came out on streaming. Trap. Did you guys see that?
Oh yeah.
No, I wanted
Shyamalan.
Yes. I couldn't remember who did it. So, yeah. I mean, it's got to have, I would imagine, with his signature touch, like some kind of a twist ending, but it seemed like the twist was delivered in the trailer, right?
No, there's a twist at the end. So
nice. Thank God.
So is it?
I have not seen it, but I mean, I again, that was one of those movies I'm like, oh, well, let me read about it. And they talk about the twist in the thing that I read. So yeah, but I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. So
yeah, please don't. Because I want to watch it this weekend. That's exciting. It's like exciting.
I know someone that had watched it, but I haven't gotten the lowdown and if it was good or not. But at the same time, I don't know if I trust her word on movies yet because I'm still trying to decide if she's worthy because she liked Beetlejuice a lot.
Yeah,
Ooh.
And that I kind of talked to her about it when I understand her take on it. But yeah, like Trapped, I wanted to see what she thought. And she saw Borderlands and didn't like it, but that's a whole different story too.
Yeah.
There've been so many movies that have come out that I didn't go see. Like I didn't go see the last Ghostbusters. What do you call
Frozen
it?
Empire.
Frozen Empire. I saw it on a plane coming back from my last con. And I saw Civil War the same way. I saw it on the plane coming back. I didn't go to the theater to see it. I haven't seen the new Beetlejuice. I have not seen. I didn't see Borderlands. I did go see Furiosa, which I thought was freaking fantastic.
I only made it through half of that too. Same reason.
Oh yeah,
yeah. What I got?
When do you start the movies? Like 11 p.m. at night? Or?
Yes.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's like your melatonin. I'll put on a movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's that. I start the movie like this, and then after a little bit, it's kind of. I need to get a little more comfortable, and then as soon as I'm horizontal, and boom, lights out. Yeah, so that's usually make it halfway through.
I've seen it in action when we're out of town. Like you just turn something on and it's like a slowed.
Well, on the upside is you have a perfect way. People have trouble falling asleep, and I'm like, Jack, no way, Jack is out. Just put a movie on and
just turn on a good movie.
How do we shut him up? Turn a movie on and he'll be good.
Awesome.
Furiosa. The only thing I didn't like from what I saw is there wasn't much with her. It was mostly Chris Hemsworth running around with his funny accent. It was like the first half of the movie.
It seems that way because she doesn't have a whole lot of lines. She doesn't talk. She's a very silent character, and
that's great because that's that whole motif for that.
The Max character is very quiet. So, but again, it's one of those. The colors really pop, and the cinematography, the practical effects for all of the vehicle mayhem that goes on, that chase scene with the with the flying guys and stuff was just like, wow, this is really, really wild. And again, it was one of those movies. It was made for the big screen. It's one of those things you go see on the big screen. It just it was great.
That's on streaming now too, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I'll have to think about seeing that. That world has never really captivated me for some reason.
Oh yeah. Have you seen any of the previous films or?
Yeah. I saw the the Charlize Theron one, and I did see some of the originals, and they were cool, but nothing overly grabbed my imagination or attention. I am intrigued though. You did say you saw Civil War. What was your opinion of that? I just watched that a few weekends ago.
I found it to be very bleak, but in a good way. And I found the last like 5 minutes of it very, how do I put it? Really trying to hit you over the head with being a wartime journalist or being a wartime photographer. The shot is everything.
Yeah.
And the young female photographer that's what's her name?
I can't remember.
Kirsten Dunst kind of mentors throughout the entire movie. The look on her face during the last 5 minutes is she has shifted over into sort of like this I have no feelings. I'm just here to take the shot. And the way the film is, and I don't know if I'm spoiling anything for anybody who hasn't seen it, but she steps out to take a shot, and Kirsten Dunst pushes her out of the way because there's a guy with a gun down at the end of the hall or whatever, and she takes the bullet for her. And it almost seemed like she planned that. Not Kirsten Dunst's character, but the other character planned to do that so that she could get the photo of her dead mentor as the trophy shot or whatever.
That makes sense because of the way she reacted right after it happened too.
Yeah, there was nothing. It was just like, I got the shot and now I'm going to go take a picture of the dead, president or whatever. And I was like, wow, that was. It seemed very opportunistic, and it reminds me a lot of our very charged political climate these days. Is that it was almost kind of manufactured in a way, and I was like, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting. The movie itself was, of course, like these small vignettes from place to place to place till they finally get to the White House. I thought that kind of storytelling was very interesting. And again, how would the American public actually react to a war here on our own territory? How would we handle that? Because there's that one scene of a girl who's working her little, vintage clothing store and saying, "Feel free to look around." It's like,
oh, that's right.
There's a civil war going on. She goes, yeah, we're not really thinking about that.
Yeah. I get in trouble during the film I didn't know who they were running with, what side they were running with, or anything like that until the end. I don't know. I just felt like the movie just kind of ended, like abruptly.
Yeah, and I think it was the director's choice and the writer's choice to not have sides. It was up to you to determine who was on what side or whatever. And depending on where you land, left, right, center, whatever, because there's that one scene where they have the snipers and they're shooting at the house, and she's like, "Who's in there?" And he goes, "Somebody's shooting at us and we're shooting at them." That's it. And that was the whole conflict in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It wasn't red or blue or black and white or whatever. It was just them and us.
That's a great point. And that's exactly what they had to have done. That way everyone can relate to it, right?
Geez, so they didn't even know if it was an enemy?
What's that?
Well, I mean, it had to be an enemy because they were shooting at them, and it had killed a number of their friends, so they were shooting at the guy that killed their friends. In whether or not they were on the same side. They had no idea. It was just that guy was shooting, we're shooting back.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about, actually.
Yeah. Oh, it was nuts. It was I don't know.
Well, and that's what gives that's what gives me pause and makes me worry about people on the internet who are always screaming about we should have a real civil war. And I'm like, you have no idea.
Oh my God.
What that would be like, because who's on whose side, and it's just
how convoluted that would get. Oh my God.
I almost pulled the trigger to watch that a couple nights ago, but it was 10:30, so I was a little smart.
So Jack movie time.
I was like, I don't know if I can commit to this one. Most of the time I don't say that and I end up not. So
you would have so fallen asleep.
I think it's worth a sit through. It's definitely one of those movies that you could have a pretty deep conversation with over coffee or whatever with people. I mean, it kind of brings up some things, and I think that's one of the great things that movies can do is sort of start a conversation about stuff. So
is that one of those was it A23 or 24?
It was an A24.
It was an A24. Yeah.
Okay. I've had a lot of trouble getting into those movies. I'm just not been in the right mindset. There's a couple other ones that I'm like, oh, A24. Really? Okay. Yeah,
because they've hit so many home runs. Those guys.
I know that's what.
Yeah, I love A24. That's what sold me on Civil War.
What is it? Alex Gardner? Isn't he the director? And he wrote the script of something that I rewatched the other day. What was it? Dredd. He did the script for Dredd. And I was like,
the Judge Dredd remake.
Yeah, with Carl Urban.
I was just talking about that today. Great movie, so good.
You need to see that. Dredd is it's so much better than the Stallone movie.
So
the Stallone movie
question.
The Stallone movie is a comic book. Dredd is a movie.
Yeah.
I am the law.
Graphic novel. Put it that way.
There you go. Yeah.
I just looked up. I'm trying to look up to see if the film Late Night with the Devil was A24, but I don't know if it was. I don't think it was. Did you see that, David?
I did not.
I wanted to see that one too. Yeah.
Was that a Shudder production? Did Shudder?
Shudder. That's what it was. Yes. Thank you. I think that technically came out last year or was ready for release last year, but it seemed like it got held up for a long time before it was actually released. But it was Shudder. I signed up for like a month. I think it's like $5 to join their streaming service so I could watch it. But it was good, especially this time of year. It was a lot of fun. I would recommend checking it out if you're into that kind of stuff. Like,
the lead in that is a really good actor. I like him a lot. David Mashaw. I can't pronounce his last name. David.
I'm not even going to try because I will butcher it. But
he's the polka dot man, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and he was in Ant-Man. He was one of the little criminal guys that run around with Scott.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the little jelly guy.
The Baba Yaga.
He was in the Dark Knight film too. He was one of the henchmen, I think.
One of Joker's henchmen. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been all over the place.
So what about the movie? Have either of you seen that Adam Sandler movie, Spaceman?
No.
Nope.
I dropped Netflix because they raised their price again. I'm like, no.
Yeah, they did. Isn't that some crazy bullshit? I'm thinking about dropping them too. Because I heard you can get like Disney, Hulu, and Max in a bundle now for like $30 a month.
When the final season of Stranger Things come out, I may pick it up just to watch that and then drop it again.
Yeah.
I just dropped my subscription cost for Netflix, so where I'm not getting 4K, but I really don't notice the difference. And I have commercials here and there, but they're only like real quick commercials. It's not really, it's not much to really, get pissed about.
Yeah.
I just watched on Netflix, which is kind of, it's nothing I'm really even interested in. I've never been interested in wrestling except for when I was a real small kid, but they just put out the documentary.
Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
I watched the first episode and was pretty blown away. I mean, I watched wrestling, every Saturday morning when I was a kid in the 80s, and there was a lot of stuff that went on that I had no idea about.
But I guess
both. Like with Hulk Hogan becoming like what made it really explode. And I remember him in Rocky, but I guess I started watching wrestling after Rocky when he was in it.
Yeah, I think I probably did too. I just remember having like those big rubber dolls of like Hulk Hogan, the Junkyard Dog, Hillbilly Jim. My buddy
Iron
had the
Sheik.
ring he would bring over. Iron Sheik. Yeah, remember his figure? It was like this, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Remember how bad those things would hurt when your sister threw them at you?
Oh yeah, they were heavy. They were dense too.
You could take some teeth out with one of those things.
Yeah.
Did either of you see the Iron Claw with Zac Efron?
No, my sister keeps telling me about it.
That was such a good movie.
I didn't watch it because I was not into wrestling. I kept asking my brother because my brother did, and he was watching the Von Erichs back in the 80s and stuff. So, but I haven't seen it. But I know it's really good. So,
I'm telling you, man, it's somebody who does not follow wrestling, you'll enjoy it. It was a tearjerker. It brought some tears to my eyes. It was really good, and especially knowing all that shit happened too.
Right.
And just those brothers' story is something else. I strongly recommend it. And Zac Efron, I only ever really knew that guy from like what was the high school dance thing he did?
High School Musical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that I even knew him from that. I just knew that he did it.
You see him in Baywatch? I mean, that movie is a mess, but
no, I never saw that.
I was really pleased with that movie just because, just from the first scene.
Yeah.
Then you realize, okay, so it's actually kind of a spoof of the whole thing. But it ended up being a lot better than I thought.
It's weird though. I mean, it gets like right near the end, there are like 10 minutes that are like, oh, this is like super serious. Yeah. And then it goes back to being goofy again. But yeah.
Yeah. But he was fantastic in this movie. He blew me away. I could not believe how good of an actor he is.
Did you have
and the guy that's in The Bear, he played one of the brothers too.
Yes. They were all so good. It was again a tearjerker. I recommend it. Did
you have trouble staring at Zac Efron's face? Watching Ricky Stenicki.
Not when you're watching a wrestler, they're supposed to be big chiseled dudes, but I mean, of course you're going to look, but I mean, I don't think it looks horrible. You can definitely tell a difference, but I don't think it's anything that should, it's not like he looks like the fucking Elephant Man or something now,
No, watching Ricky Stenicki, I was like, I didn't realize it was him at first. And then I realized it was. I was like, wow, he looks different. And then my sister was like, oh, yeah, this huge accident. You should see him in the Iron Claw.
Yeah. I guess he was like running through his house, fell, busted his chin on like a concrete or a marble fountain or something in his house.
Something,
I don't know,
yeah. He
so he pulled a Mark Hamill, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right. Corvette Summer.
Oh my God, David. I just looked that movie up the other day. That is a fun little movie.
Yeah.
Him and Annie Potts, right?
Yeah.
Had to have been one of her first roles.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to have to rewatch that film. That's a good movie.
Yeah, because that was between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. So, the late 70s or whatever. So
was it between? I couldn't.
Yeah.
That's the reason they had the whole Wampa scene in Empire, because they had to justify why his face was scarred.
Yeah, that was actually his real face.
I know the accident was. I thought for some reason I was thinking Red Hot, or what was it called again? Corvette Summer?
It was Corvette Summer.
Yeah. Corvette Summer happened before the first Star Wars, but you're saying it happened between A New Hope and Empire.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Good movie. Check it out, Jack. Don't fall asleep. Don't start it at 10.
Gotcha.
Anyway, the Spaceman, this isn't anything I would normally gravitate toward, because when I see Adam Sandler, I think it's just going to be like, his using his normal voice. And
it was a serious movie, right?
It was. And, when you see the title, The Spaceman, it makes you just think it's going to be some kind of a sci-fi, which I guess it technically is, but it is a like deep dive kind of a like psychological movie. It is so fucking good. I want to watch it again because this really isn't a spoiler, but just a quick overview of what the film is. He's alone in this spaceship headed to this anomaly in space that we've been seeing from Earth for the past 2 or 3 years, going to see what it is. And on the way there's this creature who looks like, the little tiny spiders that that are really cute that we find around and people like make cartoons of and shit with the 4 eyes. One of those shows up in his ship, but it's big enough to hug, and it's talking to him. And it's just their conversation, like a deep dive into Adam Sandler's character's psyche and shit. It is so good. I can't recommend it enough.
Better than Hubie Halloween?
I've never seen it, but yes.
you guys seen a movie with Sam Rockwell called Moon?
Yes.
No.
You should watch that. Again, one of those guy on his own, lots of psychological stuff going on. It's directed by the son of David Bowie. So
who stars in it?
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
Justin
What year
Hammer?
did that come out?
Oh gosh, when did that come out?
Early mid 2000s. No, it might have been earlier than that.
Sometime between 2010 and 2015, somewhere in there, I think. Maybe 2009, I can't remember. But again, it has one of those like little twists about 3/4 of the way through, and you're like, "Ooh, okay."
Yeah, it is a hell of a twist in that one, and he's the only one in the whole movie.
Mm.
That's what's great. I love movies when it's just minimal actors, just one or just a few characters in it.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna love this one then. I'll watch that film though, because I love those kind of movies. But this one, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It just threw a curveball at me. It was not what I was expecting at all, and it had me really sitting and thinking about myself, like examining my mind and shit. I was like, I feel like I owe somebody for the hour on this.
That's when the movie's good, when you have to sit and think at the end, not just of the movie, but just everything else about it. Just
life.
Exactly. That's how The Matrix was.
Holy shit, wasn't it? I walked out of that movie changed. I was like, what the
hell yeah.
So I take it nobody here has seen Joker 2?
No, and I won't.
I didn't have any reason to go see it. I was like,
yeah. I was going to go last weekend until I started looking at stuff online, and that shouldn't be any reason for me not to go, but I heard enough people and enough of the ratings were low enough to be like, maybe I'll wait, because going to the theater is expensive. At the same time, I want to support the medium because I don't want it to go away, but that doesn't mean I want to pay for something I know I'm not going to like,
I feel the same way about Megalopolis. I'm like going, yeah, I'd like to see it, but I don't think I want to go to the movie theater to see it. I'll wait for it to show up on, Prime or something. I don't know.
Which is so disappointing because the first one was such a good film. I loved it so much. And, you would expect this to deliver on the same kind of note. And I guess there is some big ending to it that has people talking, but what it is, I don't know. I could look into it, but I don't want to spoil it, but maybe I should.
See, I had a different reaction than you. So yeah, that's great.
I didn't realize it was 2.5 hours.
What do you mean a different reaction?
I thought it was really well made, and I thought it was really well acted. I just didn't see the necessity of it.
The first Joker movie?
Yeah. I mean, it was sort of an exercise in, are you going to sit here and watch this guy get trashed over and over? And it was really a nice drill down into mental health and all of the people that have mental health issues. And had they done it without the trappings of him living in Gotham and putting on the clown makeup,
I was just going to say that
it could have been like a really sort of like Oscar worthy performance of, this is a real deep dive into what it's like to live with mental illness. And but because it had the trappings of being a comic book tie-in, I think it kind of lost something from that. But again, and I don't know why we need to glorify villains. And this is just me from my point of view, being, we tell certain stories in a certain way because we want to promote certain ideals in the world, like be a good guy, stand up for the, if you're humanizing or empathizing with the villain, I think that sort of ties into where we are today about not knowing what's truth or fiction anymore. What's real? What do we believe in and what do we not believe in? Who is the good guy? Who is the bad guy? And it should be, and again, maybe it's just me at my age from a different generation looking at things and going, It used to be easy to tell who are the good guys and who are the bad guys, and now you can't do that anymore. And I'm wondering how much of our fiction and how much of our media is responsible for that, of blurring the lines between, and it's hard to do because so much of our action-oriented heroic movies it's gun porn, shooting people up and killing people in very creative ways. And again, what message is that putting into your subconscious about what's right and what's wrong?
It's more about how you become a star, even though you might be mentally unstable.
In one way, I didn't understand the necessity of why the movie got made, but again, it was one of those movies that got conversations started, which is what movies are supposed to do. So
sure, yeah, and maybe not necessary, but I like your take on saying that if they removed the comic book barriers from it, it could have been something completely different. And I think you're right about that.
I did like the twist of the scene in him in the bathroom with Bruce Wayne's dad and his dad being a jerk. I thought, oh, well, that's different. That's an angle we haven't seen before because what the hell is Bruce Wayne's dad's name? Is it
Thomas?
Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne is always sort of like this ultimate good guy who he's a saint and he gets killed at the beginning, which is why Batman goes on this whole journey. But here we did this twist where he's really kind of a grade A asshole. But yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's why I like these. I enjoy the villain movies and series and stuff, just because the heroes stories they're pretty much always the same. You know what I mean?
That's
like something causes them to do good, and no matter what, they got to be selfless and do good. Not that they're all that black and white, but I don't know. I think the villain story is always the more interesting one. Like Thanos. Look at Thanos. Like there's a part of almost everyone that could almost relate to that, I think.
Well, I think that's, the hero is always a reactive character. They're like the police in that way. They don't prevent crime. They react to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what heroes do. They react to a situation. Villains, on the other hand, are the active characters. They're the ones who are causing the issue. But that's because they take a stand. This is what we're going to do. And this is the way things should be.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to stop me? Okay. And so that's where the conflict comes from. And
right.
Villains are always, from an actor standpoint, playing a villain is the best because you get all the scenery to chew. And that's why Heath Ledger's Joker is so memorable, so is held up at to the standard because there was scenery, and boy, did that guy chew it. He ate that movie up.
That he did. And I see
the same thing. With Joaquin's performance in that movie is fantastic. His ability to again, much like Christian Bale and Robert De Niro before him, they lose weight and put on weight, and the physical torture he put himself through to get into that role, to get into that sort of mindset, to see him cracking and cracking and cracking. It's very difficult to sit there and watch that happen and sit there and think, why am I watching this? Why am I not helping this person? Again, may not, have enjoyed the movie on a certain level. But yeah, I thought it was really, really well done. But again, I didn't feel a need to see that again in Joker 2. And from everything that I've read,
Yeah. I see what you're saying too about the fact that, blurring the lines between hero and villain, blurring the lines between good and bad, and maybe that's responsible for what some of the stuff's happening in the world. I agree with you there because there's a lot of impressionable minds out there. And that's not, with me, not where I'm coming from. I don't know. I always like the villain story way more than the heroes. Not to say I don't like the heroes, but it's just more complex. There's a lot more layers to it.
Yeah, if you find yourself understanding the villain, knowing where they're coming from, that that's another thing that is a hallmark of a good villain. It's like, I understand why this guy is upset. And again, with a lot of these movies, it comes down to I'm really tired of superhero movies and action movies with this trope of, you took everything from me.
Yeah.
That is such a tired trope. It's like, I don't know, find another reason to be villainous. I mean, and one of the reasons, people watch James Bond is because you have these sort of villains that are like, has nothing to do. My family's fine. They're perfect. They're great. And I just want to take over the world. That's my job. I just want to do that. I want to create a big news agency and take over the world. That'd be it.
Right. I just started watching The Penguin. Have you guys watched any of that yet?
No, I keep forgetting that it's on.
Yeah, I don't have HBO Max.
It's not one of those that's going to make you really sympathize.
Rage,
like the Joker. The Joker, there was some sympathy there because it's like, this poor guy, he just wants help that he can't get. He's just, he had this horrible upbringing. Mm-hmm. The Penguin, man, so far, I'm only a couple episodes in, but I've got no empathy for this guy. It's kind of like Walter White in a way. Everyone hung to the edge of their seat watching him the whole time, knowing this guy's doing some horrible, horrible stuff. But on some level, and maybe that was the fascination with the character, is seeing how far you could go with this character that you deep down love, but don't agree with anything he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The Penguin, though, check it out. It's actually so far pretty good. Again, only 2 episodes in, but I'm enjoying it. It raises the anxiety a little bit.
Other than hearing that's good, I hear a lot about it's in the Batman, just the makeup, seeing that's Colin Farrell, and just, you can't believe that's that dude.
It never ceases to amaze. Every time I'm watching it and they close up on his face, you start like peering for like the seams and like the face prosthetics. You know what I mean? Anyway.
That's not Bullseye. That's the only thing I really remember Colin Farrell in.
Remember,
Daredevil.
The only thing I remember him from was the movie Phone Booth. Did you guys ever see that?
Oh yeah, I mean, he was in Minority Report with
Tom Cruise.
He just did. Oh, he was in.
There's a Total Recall also.
Yeah, Total Recall. He was also in Bruges with the same actor. He was in Banshees of Inisherin or whatever. He was the same actor was in that. Good actor, great actor. Fantastic Beasts. He was in Fantastic Beasts too. So.
I'm looking up his movie list now because I feel like there's got to be more that I know.
Oh yeah,
there's tons of them. I just, for some reason, Daredevil, I remember him way more than that. With his,
he played Bullseye.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, didn't he wear like a shitty pleather red coat and have the actual bullseye like in his?
Yeah, he's like brand.
Yeah. Like the Inglorious Bastards got a hold of him. Yeah, see, I don't recognize a lot of these. He's been in a ton of them, but it's like a group of movies I've never really seen any of, except for Daredevil. But anyway. So you said you didn't see Beetlejuice, David. Is this something you plan on watching?
When it pops up on streaming, I'll probably sit through it. But yeah.
This weekend, I think it's actually coming out.
Well, it'll probably streaming. Like come out like
for
on
sale.
Amazon and Apple to like, it's like Deadpool to rent for $24.99. I thought, what?
I was kind of pissed. I was like, yes, October 1st, Disney Plus. No, you can buy it.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be like October 28th that it's available for everyone to stream, something like that. But I was very, very let down by Beetlejuice. Seems like the rest of the world loved it, though. I don't know what the problem is, but I just thought it was a bad movie.
I've got to see it again, I think. It was the initial shock after I was just like, all right. But I think a lot of it was just reflecting on the original one and the nostalgia part. It didn't have that same charm that I remember the first one having, even though it was kind of along the same lines, but it was still quite a bit different.
Not like really, though, because like you were saying earlier, you know, the less characters you have to follow, the better. You're mainly following Lydia, the two ghosts in the house, and Beetlejuice. You know, the other people coming in and out are just kind of inconsequential. You don't know a whole lot about them other than what they were introduced as in the front of the movie. In this movie, absolutely everyone has a plot line you're following.
Yeah.
And it just gets so labored. And it's like, why do we care? And then like by the end of the film, you're like, so why did they even introduce that in the beginning of the movie? Like there was no payoff at all.
That is the one complaint that I've heard is that whole thing. Just for a quick 10 minutes at the end, there was nothing, no reason at all. It didn't have anything to do with the plot. It was just, look, this happens. All right, boom, they're done. All right.
And
at the end,
fucking Beetlejuice seemed like he was on like some kind of antidepressant or something. I don't know. Like he wasn't vulgar at all. He wasn't loud and in your face. He just seemed very lethargic and just kind of going through the motions.
That's the impression I got from the clips that I've seen, the trailers and stuff. It's like he doesn't seem very Beetlejuicy.
No, he wasn't quite as over the top as he was in the first one.
I think the makeup department was out of control on this movie. This just seemed like too many cooks in the kitchen on this film. To me, it seems like maybe writers or producers, someone got changed out during production. I don't know, man, but like there's just so much going on for no reason at all. Beetlejuice really takes a back seat to a lot of the bullshit, and when he's on screen, it's disappointing.
How many years between the two? Was it 35 or more than 35?
Oh boy, I can't remember.
When did the first one come out?
I think the first one was 89. No,
I think it was 89. Yeah.
Well, 89? Batman was 89, and Beetlejuice was before Batman.
That's right.
So maybe that was 87. Let me look. But yeah, I didn't find anything Beetlejuice was doing to be funny. 88. And like we were saying earlier, you know, like people saying that they could write that better, but then they don't. This is one of those instances. Like the very first time they introduced him, I started rewriting that opening scene. Like this is how they should have done it, and yet I did nothing about it.
Would you have rather Beetlejuice goes surfing like they were originally planning?
You know, Jack, that's a good question. The obvious answer is no, but after letting this new one kind of simmer and seeing that maybe Michael Keaton doesn't really give two fucks about Beetlejuice other than that paycheck, maybe, you know, he would have been younger, more spry, maybe more apt to be a version of Beetlejuice closer to the original than this one was. Yeah, it's been 30 some years, but damn, like it wasn't funny. I didn't laugh once the whole movie.
I had a couple of chuckles. Yeah. That's what I also thought about. I don't remember there being a lot. There was some, no. Okay. Never mind. There was laughing out loud moments in the first one. Definitely.
I mean, it was so to the point where, okay, Lydia's father is dead for this film. He has a storyline. He has no head, no torso, has a storyline. Why? Yeah. Like, why?
Oh, because the actor is in a lot of trouble in Hollywood.
Oh, yes. Well, I know that. I know that why. I'm just saying, why even write him in at all? You know, like just say, he's dead. Moving on.
Yeah.
But anyway.
One prop I had to give the movie, though, it was mainly practical effects. There wasn't a lot of CG in it. It was mostly practical, which was good to see.
Sure. Yeah.
And in this day and age of movies where they'd rather make it a cartoon instead of actually trying to make it look real, I guess.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know. There were just some jokes that were just so bad that you could tell on their end they thought were so fucking good that we're just going to drive them down your throat until you laugh. Like the Soul Train. How stupid was that? The train that carries them onto the afterlife is called the Soul Train. And when you reach the Soul Train platform, there's disco music and a disco ball and all these ghosts doing fucking disco. And the camera just sits there filming them for an absurd amount of time, more than once in the movie.
You know, that kind of reminded me with stuff like that of the cartoon. And that's one reason why there's something about the cartoon that I never really liked because I didn't watch it when it was on.
I enjoyed the cartoon when I was a kid, but you know, different tones. I don't know, man. It just was so bad. Yeah, that Soul Train thing made me I was seething for days over that. It's like Because you could just, the amount of time they held on it, you could tell somebody thought they really had a clever idea here that they wanted seen. I thought, what the fuck?
That's kind of low-hanging fruit, I think. The land of the dead. Let's do a Soul Train.
And to keep going back to it and having
we spent a gajillion on these costumes. You better film every second of them.
Yeah, you would expect some of that to end up in the bonus on the DVD bonus or behind the scenes. You know, typically something's left on the cutting room floor, not on this one. But I digress. Unless you guys had anything else to say about Beetlejuice.
Nah, I still want to see
movies. There's other like big blockbuster movies that have come out this last year that I haven't seen. I didn't see the new King Kong Godzilla movie, New Empire or whatever.
That's because you knew it was probably going to be bad.
And I didn't see the new Planet of the Apes movie either. I'm like,
I forgot about that one. It was okay. I mean, it's not going to be those first three with Caesar at all. And it was good, but
I sat and watched. I got caught up in all of them because I didn't watch any of them. And the last one, was it the Reign of the Planet of the Apes, or not the one that just came out in theater, but the one before that?
War.
Yeah, the one. Yeah.
War. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed because I thought it was going to be a big war, not just all of a sudden just catching the Woody Harrelson's base on fire. That were it wasn't really a war. It was
just led up to to Caesar's demise or whatever. So
yeah, and then after that, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to see this new movie. I watched all these new movies for no reason.
I loved War. I thought it was a great film. I thought all three of them were great, and they work great together. They're great films, and I didn't expect this new one to be anywhere close to as good. And they do play hard on reminding you about Caesar and. They do play hard on those first few films as much as they can, being that they're in the future now, but it's still good. I think you'd still enjoy it, David. And Jack, actually. I don't know. You sound like you really gave up after War.
I didn't catch Gentlemen Broncos. It's been out for 10 years now or whatever.
I love that movie.
I just started watching it on Prime. I'm like, this is pretty fucking funny.
It is so good. I've seen that movie so many times.
Gentlemen Broncos?
Yeah. Jermaine Clement and it's got a lot of actors that you know by face, but you don't really know their name. And like in Nacho Libre, the other wrestler that's with Jack Black is one of the characters. He's one of the actors in the movie, and
Sam Rockwell's in it too.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell is in it too. Don't forget that.
Huh?
It's kind of old. It's along the line of Napoleon Dynamite-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's purposely bad on purpose. Purposely bad on purpose. Yeah.
Like you don't know when, what era it takes place because there's so much of all of it is in one thing,
and all of the characters are awkward. They're all awkward. Very awkward.
Sounds like my kind of film. I just started watching a series. I'm sure you guys have heard of Louder Milk.
I've heard the name.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's the guy from Office Space. He's the star in it.
Oh, okay.
And he plays a recovering alcoholic who leads a Alcoholics Anonymous support group, and it's a lot of fun. I love his disposition, but I love anyone's disposition, typically. So anyway, there's one big matzo ball hanging out our mouths we got to talk about: Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean,
I was going to say, what Marvel movies came out this year?
The only thing really.
Deadpool
we had
and
97
Wolverine
come out. What'd you say?
I say Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that was the only one.
Yeah.
Did Madam Web come out this year?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, one of those movies that I saw on the plane, and I'm like,
you watched it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't have any. I was like, well, I'm here. I'm going to be in the plane for an hour, almost 2 hours. So I'll just watch this. And I was like going about how I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I watched, I think, half of it.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about turning it off, David, at any point? Or were you just like, I'm dedicated to this?
No, I didn't turn it off because it was making the flight go faster. You know what I mean? So by the time the movie ended, we landed. I was like, oh, great.
That's when a movie does not waste your time. It actually helps time.
Exactly. It was like, I'm just watching this to get through the flight. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Yeah, there's a lot of movies I could watch on a flight. What's that?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. David, what were your initial reactions?
I thought it was great. I thought it was, again, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. It's so obvious that he's Deadpool.
Yeah.
I did remember seeing it in the theater and watching it, and at some point I'm like, please stop with all the pop culture references. Please. It's just in your face. And if I hear one more pop culture song, if I hear NSYNC or whatever, again, I'm just gonna like, oh, just stop. But there were so many other parts that were so well done. You could forgive them for that. I mean, the part where, he tells Paradox to hold on a second, and he runs over there and he grabs the camera and he goes, "Suck it, Fox. I'm going to Disneyland." Perfect. I thought that was so great. And get your special sock out, nerds. It's going to be good. And then the Chris Evans cameo was just like, oh shit. And I was, again, it was one of those things where I thought, it's Cap. They're going to do Cap. And he does the superhero landing, and then when he takes it off, it's like, oh shit, it's Johnny.
Yeah. Well, they told us so hard though, because when he's on that tower and he points, they're coming. Like his arm is wrapped in red, white, and blue, and
his boots are red. So
yeah.
I was mad I got that spoiled for me, like the day before that I had caught that, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah, somebody spoiled Blade for me online. I was like, God damn it.
Oh,
but yeah.
I had heard rumors. It's hard to avoid them when, if you decide to open up social media.
I did buy the streaming version of Deadpool, and I was very disappointed in the deleted scenes. That they're very light on the deleted scenes.
Really?
Like, that kind of sucks. It seems like you would have had, I don't know, 3 hours, and were there other heroes that we could have seen that you just didn't get to or whatever? And it was very light on that. So I was like, that's a bummer.
Were there any like featurettes or anything?
Oh yeah, there's like 8 featurettes. There's a gag reel. But the deleted scenes, I understand why they were deleted. They didn't really add anything to the movie or whatever, but they were also very forgettable. It's like, I don't remember that,
Yeah.
Well, stuff like that, because I saw it the second time, and there was a lot of stuff that I was just like, yeah, this doesn't really
doesn't land as well.
I'm seeing the second time. It wasn't as funny, I guess, but I think it wasn't as much of a shock, I think, with a lot of the stuff. Yeah. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, there was a lot of Ryan Reynolds in the movie and a lot of Deadpool.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole fight sequence at the end was like, this is a lot of Deadpool.
You know what really upset me about this movie? There's one thing that really got under my skin. Because, when they started teasing there's going to be all these characters from other movies, I think one of the first ones they really confirmed was Sabretooth. It's like, oh, shit, we're going to get to finally see Wolverine and Sabretooth fight. And, like you said, David, that's when he says, get out your special sock, nerds, because this is about to happen. And then it doesn't happen.
It's
over. Quick. It's over so quick. It's like, oh, that's the joke, right? It should have been a prolonged fight.
I didn't find it one bit.
It's a rematch of them on top of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I just wanted to see it. I wanted to see that so bad. I was hoping they'd throw each other around a little bit.
I do think one of the best things about the whole movie was during the credits, they had that the Green Day song playing behind all of the Fox footage of the X-Men movies, and I thought that was great. I thought that was like a really great retrospective homage to all the work that had gone in leading up to the team up. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was such a good film. It's hard to find things bad about it, but that's kind of my job, I suppose. So
there's a lot of interesting choices, like because at the beginning of the movie, I noticed this rewatching it the other day when he's in the office with Happy trying to become an Avenger. They say this is Earth 616. That's the sacred timeline. How is he in the secret timeline and then he's back on Earth 10?
That's one thing that kind of threw me off too.
Is he
jumping?
Yeah. Is he jumping back? Was it the time device that allowed him to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but you're right.
Right there with you on that one.
The Deadpool Wolverine thing, again, is another one of those tropes about the superhero movies that I wish they would get away from, which is like, not everything has to be a world-ending event. Not everything has to be about protecting the multiverse. We've done that. Forget about it. And I'm hoping they don't do that with Captain America: Brave New World. Seeing the trailer with the Red Hulk, I was like, okay, kind of get excited about that.
I'm excited.
I think with Deadpool and Wolverine, they that's where they closed it off, because even Deadpool said it. He's like enough with the multiverse already.
Yeah.
But the other thing that he says at least twice in the movie that I think is just hilarious is, and again on Twitter today they talked about how Marvel still wants to use Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and Ryan Reynolds is like, until you're 90.
Yeah. And probably even past that.
Yeah.
But what?
Because I saw that the next movie is going to have them both in it again.
And
I'm fine with that.
I'm glad that they did this movie. I'm glad that they, and people were like, "Oh, we need the Wolverine Hulk movie," and I'm like, "No, we don't. No, we don't need to see that."
Maybe we do. I'd watch it.
I really like the idea that Logan is dead.
Yeah.
The Logan movie is so good.
Oh yeah.
And it ends so perfectly. And then of course, Ryan
desecrates the
grave.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight all these guys with your cords.
To NSYNC, no doubt, no less.
Yeah.
Okay. Cassandra Nova was an interesting choice of a character for me. I'm assuming she's the twin of James McAvoy's Professor X, rather than
in the comics. Yeah, she's she and Charles were in utero together, and I think he kills her in utero or something like that. In the comics.
Yeah, and she ends up growing on a wall in a sewer somewhere or something like that.
Yeah. Very weird.
Horrible.
I mean, I can understand her being disgruntled, but
I really enjoyed the effect of her putting her fingers through their heads and stuff.
Yes,
that was a great effect. I thought, okay, that's harkening back to Sam Raimi and Multiverse of Madness. Just this odd, horrific.
Yeah.
Thing. So, yeah.
I liked it too, but I think that's like one of those things like the Soul Train that they did a little too much. Like the first time she did it on screen, I was like, wow, that's awesome. And then like she did it again on Wolverine. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then she did it on Pyro. And then she did
when
it
she
on
was
Paradox,
going down the stairs into the subway and dragging his body behind. I thought, okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. And like that lifeless look on his face while she's dragging him just was a little horrifying in itself. But I don't know. I think they focused a little too long maybe on her fingers twirling in and out of their eye sockets and nose and ears and whatnot. But
I saw a cosplay today of someone doing her.
Really?
And she actually had a mannequin with her hand through the head, and it looked great. I mean, the mannequin's feet were kind of dragging on the floor weird, so it kind of looked weird, but otherwise the effect was there. It was pretty sweet.
You'll have to send that to me. I'd like to see that.
If I could find it.
Cosplayers they do fantastic stuff. So.
I wish we could have seen Thomas Jane's Punisher. I was really, really hoping he was going to pop up at some point, because we saw the Russian at one point. They reference having Punisher's bazooka. I thought, he's going to be somewhere. He's got to be somewhere, but alas, no.
Well, the funny thing is in the movie, when Blade has that and he's about to blow the doors open, he goes, "There's only one Blade." And then Ryan looks at the camera and I'm like, have you seen Twitter? Because I'm not sure the Blade movie's going to come out now. So maybe Wesley Snipes is the only Blade.
It'd be cool if they had him do another one.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be so neat.
Yeah, that was one of the best digs in that movie, is when he's like, "I'm the only Blade," and he just looks at it like,
be one Blade. Yeah. And Channing Tatum's Gambit was so much fun. Oh my God, he was a blast. I loved him.
Who's your dialect coach? the Minions.
I have to say that he was the standout thing out of the whole movie, or at least one of the maybe the second to the. I mean,
well,
with
I think
and
what
being there.
the movie did really well is sort of like hold up an image and goes, you see, comic book uniforms can work.
Yeah,
you should do that more often.
Yep.
You know, and you know, just like he says, you know, well, that only took 20 years. But yeah,
man.
Gambit
Did you get the chills, David, when he pulled the hood over?
I didn't get the chills, but I thought that looks awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I don't collect merchandise. I don't have a lot of objects on my shelves. But if there are two things that I could have, it would be Cap's shield and that mask, that Wolverine mask. That looked really, really good.
You're
really
referencing specifically the one from that film, or just one in general, or
no, from the Deadpool, the one with the white eyes. And I'm like, oh, they did the white eyes. Yeah, great, perfect.
And yeah, thank God they did the white eyes.
Yeah, I love the montage of all the different type of Wolverines. I thought that was great.
That was so good. Oh my God. What was it? Short Wolverine, the cavalry.
If you see the face of the guy that played the short Wolverine, it's like, why did you replace his face with Hugh Jackman's face? He looks like Wolverine. Just use that guy's face.
I haven't seen it. Was that like in the special features after the film?
Somebody had posted a picture of the actor on Twitter or whatever, and I was like, he looks like Wolverine. He's got the chops and everything.
I gotta see that.
Yeah.
Then what was it? There was Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. I can never remember what the name of the story is when he's on the big X on the pile of skulls.
Old man Wolverine when he shoots him with the shotgun and.
Oh yeah. But that visual of him hanging on that X was so incredible to see live action.
Yeah, that was a cover of a X-Men cartoon comic book. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either. I wish I did, but I was so taken back by that. That looked so good. I love the lighting. Like you said, you know, not even just the comic book outfits, but just that hard comic book look done in real life. It looked amazing. I guess it's kind of like what Sin City did, but in color.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know? But what else we got on Deadpool Wolverine? Anything?
I mean, I think it hit everything. So anything that you might have had like an issue with, you kind of like forget about because they did hit so many home runs during it. You know, bang, bang. You know, it's funny. I mean, I've seen it twice now. I'm not really sure if I'll see it again for another year or whatever. But yeah,
I've seen it 2.5 times now.
I think I watched Captain America and the Winter Soldier 5 times the first year it came out. Just 5 times.
Fuck, that is like a perfect spy thriller action movie. It's so good.
And I'm really hoping they do this. It's what they've said is that it has the same tone as Winter Soldier for Brave New World. So
I hope so. I just wonder, like, how is a Captain America with no serum going to even stand a chance against a Hulk? Like, I don't get it.
Like Sam says in Winter Soldier, is like, I just do the same thing as is, you're just slower.
Unless he's not really fighting the Hulk, maybe he uses the Hulk somehow because the leader's supposed to be the villain,
right?
In the new one,
who's supposed to be the villain?
The leader,
the leader. From
the Incredible Hulk
movie, with Edward Norton. Who's the name of the actor? He was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah, little redneck looking
Nelson.
guy.
Tim Blake Nelson is his name.
The dude with the big head.
Yeah.
Yep.
His name is the leader.
Yeah. In the Hulk movie, you actually see the serum actually dripping into the wound on his head.
Yeah, his head starts pulsating a little bit.
Oh, he's the leader.
Okay, I did not realize they were bringing him back.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Well, that and what's his name from Breaking Bad? He's one of the Serpent Society.
Esposito. Yeah.
Oh, Gus Fring from Breaking. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, he's one of the Serpent Society guys. I can't remember which one he is.
Have you seen the trailer for the Thunderbolts?
Yes, and I am curious. It does look good.
Really good.
And I hope so.
Totally in love with Florence Pugh.
Oh, yeah. Join the club, David. Did you see Oppenheimer?
I was just going to say.
Yeah, I did.
More than once? Did you pause it at any moment?
Did you finish it?
No.
I didn't.
I'm in love with Yelena, not necessarily Florence. Florence is great. I love Florence, but I mean, I'm in love with Yelena. Just get her and Haley back together and just have them banter back and forth for about 20 minutes. That would be
great. Really.
Yeah, that was
I love what they did with Ghost's suit. Her suit looks so much better than that last one in Ant-Man. But Taskmaster still just is
that scene in the trailer where you see somebody I think Ghost throws the knife and then US agent catches it and he flings it and somebody else catches it. That sort of is a real comic book fight scene, where they take the weapon from each other and throw it around. I thought that was really, really well done.
I'll have to watch it. I haven't seen it yet. I only saw it like when they first came out at was it San Diego Comic-Con? Somebody had leaked.
It has that gritty tone of Winter Soldier, and I'm looking forward to it. So,
yep.
What's your opinion on RDJ returning as Doctor Doom, David?
My first initial thought was like, what a great way to get him back into the MCU. But then my second thought was like, is this a gimmick? Because if he's just a Doom variant, it's not, who's going to be the real Doctor Doom then? Is it smoke and mirrors? Is it a bait and switch kind of thing where he's not the real Doctor Doom? He's, if they defeat him in the end and then he becomes like a robot underneath, you're like going, oh, it's a Doom bot kind of thing. Then you'll feel cheated that Robert Downey Jr. isn't back in the MCU. It was just sort of like a glorified cameo. And, hearing the reports of how much money he's getting for that, I'm like going, wow, he's going to be in the movie for maybe 16 minutes at the most. If that, that's a lot of money for that time in a 2.5 hour movie. I mean, I don't know.
But that's for Secret Wars, right? That's not for Fantastic Four.
Well, I'm wondering if they're going to cameo him in the Fantastic Four movie. I'm interested to see how that movie does too.
He would almost have to be.
Yeah,
Victor would have to be somewhere around there.
Yeah, because I really like the look and the tone of the Fantastic Four movie. The retro thing looks really cool. So
it's like the only way you had to go with Fantastic Four is do that retro, just because.
I mean, I'm not a FF fan because I always felt that they were such a soap opera, and who cares? Why are they arguing this week about this? And I'm like, I don't care. Of course, I was
family problems.
Yeah, I was 10 and 11 at the time. I'm just punch people. Come on,
right?
It's clobbering time, right?
Yeah, I don't care about Johnny's girlfriend.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I mean, and it happens in a completely different timeline than everything we've been watching up to this point.
Yeah, again, it's that convoluted multiverse thing of which strand are we following this time?
Well, it makes me wonder if they're leading to something like the movie equivalent of Battle World, like what happened in the comics in 2014, 2015, where they've shown all these different timelines. They're going to pick the best from it, shove them all together. This is your new sacred timeline.
That's the whole Secret Wars thing, right? They're from different things. And then I think Brave New World sets up World War Hulk, where Hulk is on a battle planet or whatever. So,
oh my God, if they really do that, that's going to be awesome.
Well, I know they just cast some new kid as some new Hulk. The guy who played Podcast in the Ghostbusters. He's supposed to be some Hulk I've never heard of before.
What was his name? I feel I got to look it up now.
Because a lot of people were like, why are we going to get another Hulk? Why don't we just fix the Hulk that we had?
It's interesting to see, Marvel kind of trying to set things up now, because if you're watching Agatha, they're really, they mention Mephisto by name.
Oh, really?
In the Agatha series, and you're like going, okay, what's Mephisto going to have to do with everything? And so it's interesting to see what they're setting up and how it's going to pay off and stuff. So, and I still don't understand why they're having so much trouble telling a Blade movie. But I mean, I have my thoughts on how they should handle the whole vampire thing anyway. But who knows?
Well, I know the one that they canceled or whatever because they're having so many issues. It was supposed to be a period piece.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea that Blade is 200 years old. I like that idea. The same way that they did in the Werewolf special on Disney Plus. Jack is old. He's been around, since before the turn of the century, doing this thing as the werewolf. So,
is Blade really that old though? I thought he was actually, last century, 1900s.
If you follow the comic books, I mean, he's been fighting Dracula since the mid to late 60s.
Right.
And, if they do some sort of thing where he was with Van Helsing in the 1800s in some aspect, and, it's such a thorny thing to try to bring in the Universal monsters into the Marvel universe because they had a Frankenstein comic, they had a Mummy comic, they had the werewolf, and are we going to see more of Man-Thing? I would love to see more of Man-Thing, but
yeah, that's exciting to hear. They mentioned Mephisto in Agatha series.
Yeah, because I know that they're setting up Blade to be like the Midnight Suns leader. So that means that means Ghost Rider and everything else. So
I hope it's Johnny Blaze. I hope it's Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider so bad.
They'll probably bring in Jamie Reyes.
I don't remember his name, but I don't care about the
same
car.
One that they had in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Yeah. Which I thought they did a great job with in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., truly. But I just don't care about the car. I want the motorcycle. That's what looks so awesome. Tearing through the street, leaving a trail of fire. Who cares about the car? But I just looked it up.
Buildings like it.
What's that?
Yeah, really.
Just don't have him drive up buildings like that.
Oh yeah. But it looks like he might be playing the kid from who played Podcast, Amadeus Chow.
Oh yeah, okay.
So, because I was like, well, they're going to recast Bruce Banner, and I thought, okay, no, they're just
not as the Hulk, a different Hulk.
Yeah,
right. Which is Amadeus Chow. He became the Hulk for a while. So yeah,
so that'll be interesting to see. But all right, well, I think we tidied up. Unless anybody else has anything to add on something we missed or something else in Marvel related.
Do you think the appearance of Gambit and Wolverine, the Deadpool and Wolverine, would have had as much of effect if we didn't lose him in '97? Because early in the year, we end up seeing the death of Remy LeBeau, and then all of a sudden, a couple months later, boom, he's back.
Never thought about that.
Or if Ryan Reynolds knew that was going to happen, and that's
you're talking about the cartoon.
Yeah.
I think it would have. I think it definitely would have, because I mean, it still would have been the first time we are seeing like a cartoon dressed Gambit on the live screen. The only other Gambit to hold it to compare would be the dude from Wolverine Origins, was it?
Yeah.
And he just had a long coat and a bow staff for a few minutes, and that was really.
It did not sound Asian at all.
No, he did not. No, he did.
Talk about eating crow too, because all these years that we kept hearing about Gambit the movie, Channing Tatum's going to be Gambit. We were poo-pooing that all over the place. And,
well,
and there he is, and he knocked it out of the park.
When he walked through the door as Gambit, in my head, I was replaying that scene from 22 Jump Street when he's like, oh shit. Yeah, that was what kept playing through my mind when I saw it. I was like,
You should make that a meme, David, and put it on your social media.
They call me the Gambit. Oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was so cool. And then him and Wolverine's exchange, because it looked like, he definitely recognized Wolverine, but it didn't look like Wolverine really knew who he was, or could I be wrong? Did you guys pick up on that?
No, I don't think he knew who he was. He didn't really seem to care. He just like, I don't know what you're saying.
The weird thing about the ending of Deadpool and Wolverine is they did this sort of like Deus Machina, get out of jail free kind of thing. When he asks the head of the TVA, there are people back there that they should be let loose, or is there any way you can rescue them out of the void? And then there's X-23 sitting with them around the table at the end, and I'm like going, so the TVA just sort of like chucked their rule book out the window, and they just like, yeah, we'll bring everybody back from the void. And it's like, oh, what are we doing here? What's going on? So, I don't know.
No, you're right. And what makes...
I mean, that does set up, of course, will Loki make a return to try to reclaim those people, because he's sitting there holding the strands of reality together from the end of season 2 of Loki, of just like, I'm holding it together, and I was like, wow, okay.
I was surprised that she was even there, because I was kind of under the impression that at the end of the fight with Cassandra Nova, when she uses the sling ring to open up the ring for them to jump through, wasn't Alioth like charging at the base?
They all got swallowed. They all got swallowed, or they all perished in some way or whatever. I know.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. Like they'd all died in that moment. Like the last freeze frame of them all smiling up as they jumped was their ending.
Yeah.
But if Laura's there, then maybe not.
Again, Deadpool is an unreliable narrator. Who knows?
You're not wrong, David. All right. Well, I would encourage anybody watching or listening to leave comments, anything we missed. If you want to comment on something we mentioned, comment on something we didn't. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So please leave that below. And I think, unless you guys have anything else to tag on. No, I think that's going to do it for this episode. So, Jack, tell everyone what they can get on our website.
Go to cannedairpodcast.com, where you can listen, follow, subscribe, buy some merch, become a patron, see some YouTube videos. And if you'd like to be a guest and promote your work, send us an email on our contacts page.
And you can find us on Twitter at CannedAirPod, Instagram at Canned_Air, and TikTok at CannedAirPodcast. And the website Jack was just talking about and is listed right here. You can find a couple different ways to support us. There's a merch tab and a link to our Patreon page. Each way, for a little bit of your money, you get something in return, whether it be a t-shirt, hat, mug, or just extra content. We have it there for you, and it helps the show out immensely. And if you don't have the financial means to support us, just leave us a like, a comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. That little notification bell.
Slam that follow button.
Yeah, brah. I always feel dirty saying that shit, but that's part of the package, isn't it? And of course, the Evergreen Podcast Network, the network we're very proud to be a part of, have been for years, and hope we are for many more years. Or hope we are for many more. There we go. I got it out of my mouth. But with everything being said, until next time, I am Jeremy Colley.
I'm Jack Doherty.
And I'm Zordon.
Oh, man. It never gets old, David. It truly never gets old, man. No matter how you say it. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Be excellent to each other.